Hello everyone, and welcome to this Revit 2016 Release 2 webinar. My name's Greg Benson-Shettle. I'm one of the application engineers here at Graytech. I'm going to be your host for this morning's webinar. Let's take a quick look at the agenda and what we're going to be reviewing today. Basically, it's Revit Release 2, and there's going to be various features in here specifically aimed at overall performance enhancements within inside of Revit using Release 2. There's a lot of enhancements that are specifically customer requested features, so we'll be highlighting those as we go through today. There are some of these improvements are specifically for the mechanical, electrical, and piping people. And also, I will run through as to how do you actually get this Release 2. Okay. In our review of Revit 2016 Release 2, we'll be discovering the new and improved features. And we'll be assuming also today that everybody attending this particular webinar are already Revit users, so Revit Architecture, Revit MEP. So this is not an introduction to Revit for beginners. Just to set the scene, for whom this presentation is aimed at. Okay. Released exclusively to subscription customers, Revit 2016 R2 is basically, it's faster, it's got better performance, and this translates to smoother navigation and speedier work processes, and ultimately improved project performance for users. There are some smarter tools with some new features, including things as global parameters, and we'll look at that in more detail. These give users much better tools to capture and embed design intent. And overall, you're going to find that your Revit with Release 2 is more efficient with the enhancements and the improvements. There's some small ones and some large ones, including many suggested by Revit users, as I've already mentioned. Revit users, many of them on the forums, they rely on Revit as their day-to-day driver, and they know the software better than anybody. And this includes you guys. As a subscription release for Revit 2016, R2 tries to minimize the disruption of upgrading by making the new features available while maintaining as much continuity with the existing Revit users that are just going to be working on the standard Revit. We'll see that there's going to be no change in the file format, so that's not an issue. And also, as far as who's going to be getting this, basically it's mostly for people that are in the various design suites of different flavors. Okay. Autodesk Revit 2016 Release 2, it includes over 25 updates with further improved software performance and scalability behind the scenes, plus some new features as well. Release 2 is fully compatible with the existing Revit 2016 release, and as I mentioned, there's no file format change, so users can install the update without any issues affecting any of your other users that may not have the update. Here we've got a list of those 25 updates that are available, and as you can see, it's the basic platform tools, some tools that are specifically for the guys doing architecture, and other tools for our MEP colleagues as well. Just give you a moment to take that all in. Okay, let's start with the new features, functionality and enhancements for architects, as well as Revit overall platform tools for architects, MEP and structural engineers alike. Now, to help improve productivity, the Release 2 will now only draw elements that are visible. Sounds obvious, but very often when we're panning and zooming around, Revit's often thinking about things that may be switched off. But now with a new engine enhancement, this thing called Occlusion Culling, it basically means it's going to concentrate just on those elements that are actually turned on. It enables you to regenerate views more quickly during navigation while orbiting, panning and zooming. And it just makes the whole experience, especially with the bigger files, a lot better. With the Draw Visible Elements Only option activated, which is the default, Revit does not draw elements that are hidden, just to re-emphasize that. You know, if you can see it, if you can't see it, Revit doesn't draw it. Okay, and this results in it's nearly twice as fast on certain models as with standard Revit 2016, especially for files and views in which regeneration of significant amount of content has been suppressed. The progressive view updates and the occlusion culling performance, it happens at a GPU level for the IT guys amongst us instead of at CPU level. And this sets Revit apart from many of the other BIM software out there, and it takes better advantage of the available hardware to help improve performance and our productivity. So now you should be able to experience a much faster performance when displaying and rotating around your views. So it's one of those background enhancements that just happens without you really doing anything, but hopefully you'll notice that your models are spinning around and regenerating much faster and much more smoothly. Now, here's a new feature. It's the Global Parameters feature, which is available in the Revit 2016 Release 2. Now, this enables you to drive dimensions and element instance parameters with project-wide parameters. Okay. Now, this means basically we can create a global parameter to measure dimensions and calculate formulas to drive those dimensions and parameter values in other elements. Okay, in English. Okay, for example, previously, elements like beams wouldn't naturally adjust within a project just because the floor slab thickness has changed. Now, if you assign a global parameter, you can associate the parameter between the beam so that when the slab thickness changes, the beams can adjust too. So this can be really quite a saving. It's worth applying these in-project global parameters. Now, they come in two classes. There's a driving global parameter, or DGP, that pushes their values into an element or an instance parameter. Okay, so that drives it. Or there's a reporting global parameter, RGP. These can pull a value from a dimension and then use that value in another global parameter using the equations that you add in. So keep in mind, if you start looking at these global parameters, there are two types. So subject to what you need to drive, decide what's going to be the best way to make that flex happen. Is it going to be from reporting or is it going to be from driving? So with these global parameters, we'll be able to use equality dimensions to constrain your dimensions. You can use the global parameters also to automate the positioning of one element based upon the size of another. So that's nice. Global parameters also enable you to capture formulaic relationships directly inside the model. So now you can design more efficiently with the ability to actually embed design intent in the model by bringing the parametric power of the families actually into the project environment. So that's really is going to be quite powerful, and again, it's going to make your whole design process much faster when displaying views, because things are going to update automatically if you've added a suitable set of global parameters. Next, we have something called the Family Element Visibility Preview feature. Okay, this basically helps us when we're actually inside the family and you're editing. It'll help us to see the design intent by filtering out geometries that are not viewed. So this makes only the geometry that will be loaded into the project visible. So with this, you can work more quickly by previewing geometries and making adjustments before they're loaded into the family. As you know, with some families, you can set up certain parameters and types and controls, and you can't really experience them until you actually put them into the project to test them. So this is going to help with some of those features, so we can keep working inside of the family while we're developing any particular parametric designs. So in plan views, the preview visibility tool will allow you to preview what the family will look like when cut into the project environment or when seen in the projection. So immediately you can now improve your productivity with faster modeling when loading families into projects by making it easy to create the family with precise behavior right from the start. Autodesk has also improved energy analysis tools in Revit and are providing an improved automatic thermal zoning in the release 2 option. Now, thermal zones are represented in the energy model by analytical spaces. In some cases, this will improve the accuracy of the energy analytical model. Now, best of all, you don't need to be an energy engineer to use the thermal zoning. It's automatic. Okay, so it's going to give you a good idea. You may be familiar with HVAC system zoning, where systems are split up by the design engineer for efficiency, scale, and control of the specific spaces. But thermal zoning is different. Thermal zoning accounts for the variations in heat gain loss through the building envelope due to different orientations by dividing the envelope perimeter into smaller spaces. Okay. Now, thermal zoning improvements are only available when using the analysis mode, use concept masses and building elements. So that's one of the specific modes. Now, this is a setting that you can find from the energy settings dialog box when it comes up. Thermal zoning in Revit is a lot more simple now, and it's automatic. This tool is going to be particularly useful during the early design stages prior to detailing and the interior modeling and HVAC zonings. So you can preempt or get a good idea in advance as to what the thermal requirements are going to be for your model. Okay, so here are some of those customer requested features. Enhanced Revit links, a new positioning option, auto project base point to auto project base point is available when inserting Revit links. This option positions the linked file by using the project's base point, the project base point as the insertion point. Seems an obvious thing to do, and it's a nice addition. It's it's a valuable alternative for projects that maybe you haven't actually utilized share coordinates. Okay, so that is project base point to project base point. Another option is on the printing and exporting side. We now have the capacity to cancel multi-sheet printing and exporting. So users can now easily cancel print or export of multiple views. So if you've started off printing and you've realized you only wanted one view and it's going ahead and starting to print the whole project, we can now cancel it. So we can just concentrate on what we need rather than the whole project. So if you're just needing to print out one view to obviously maybe go and discuss it with somebody and do some markups on a sheet of paper. I know, paper. This is going to make just a little life a bit easier and less stressful by not printing the whole project. Another new customer requested feature is something called a view filter on the user interface. The filters dialog box has been improved by making it easier to find specific filters in a list. So in here we can see on this example that we've got filters and they're listed alphabetically, and they're sorted into a tree structure with a heading for rule-based and selected based filters. So if you are using filters, this is a nice enhancement. There's been quite a few customer requested features, so let's take a look at some more. Additional information is now available regarding the actual revisions. So if you're using the revision tables and controlling your revision sheets with the sheet revision issue dialog box, we've got some new tools in here. Additional information is now available and this should make it easier for us to see exactly how the revision number will be generated and to select revisions to include a revision schedule. The sheet issue revisions dialog box has got a new column in there for revision numbers. Okay, you can see it here. And this basically means that obviously we can see exactly what's going on and how it's actually working. This column it does not display if the numbering is set to per sheet, so be aware of that. Okay, so it's for the projects. If it's set to per sheet, then this column will not actually display. The revisions on the sheet dialog has been enhanced to show additional data. You can now list the revision sequence information as part of the first revision column and display the revision date column as well. And so overall this should help when it comes to design much more efficiently with clarification of these revisions as we work through our projects. Okay. Another one is the ability to isolate solids and voids using one of the filter tools. For complicated families containing many geometries, it was always been pretty difficult to do a multi-select of only a void or only a solid geometries to make bulk changes. Now this new feature allows the use of filter tools to separate solids from voids by separating them into two different items actually in the filter list. The geometries that are not assigned to a specific category now show up listed under a new category. Instead of it just displaying other, it's now got its own category, which just helps clarify exactly what's going on. This same differentiation is also available in the element properties dialog box as well. So we can see between different categories, so we can help pick when we're actually editing inside of our families. Now here's a useful one. Again, it's another customer requested feature, per user RVT Unload. This Release 2 feature improves the workflow in collaborative environments when working with linked files by enabling users to unload links on a per user basis. There's a new For Me option and in the unload command, and it unloads the RVT file just for the current user. Now this can be quite useful, especially if you've got multiple people working on a project simultaneously within a central file, because this new option is going to enable you to keep the RVT links unloaded for portions of the model that you're not working on. And this is going to help increase performance and improve memory usage without affecting other team members. So this new per user RVT unload is going to really help speed up our workflows so that we can focus on what's important to us, without the impacting the rest of the team. We've got some improved project browser elements. The new scroll bar in the project browser actually remembers its location. So if you're in the project browser and you're moving up and down, and then you go back into the canvas area to make some editing, it's not going to jump about, so you can go back to where you were. So if you're swapping between views, the project browser's not going to start jumping around like it used to. So this is a simple thing, but it's really quite handy. Okay, named reference planes. Okay, so when you put a reference plane in, we've always been able to name it in the properties area, but now with this new feature, as you add a reference plane, you can name the reference plane by clicking directly in Canvas using a new text editor to name the reference plane. And the new reference planes are basically, it's more efficient without, you don't have to go over to the properties palette anymore. You can do it right there on screen. So you'll find that it will actually say when you load in a reference plane, there'll be a slot that says name me, basically give me a name, and you can just do it while you're working, and it's a much more fluid way of working as you're modeling through your project. Okay, let's take a look at some features specifically aimed on the architecture side of things. Okay, Raytracer and render quality settings. Okay, we've had some improvements here. So if you are looking at rendering side, Autodesk's Raytracer render quality settings in the Autodesk 2016 R2 is an enhancement to Autodesk Raytracer that enables users to set custom quality rendering settings. So this is some of the power that's come across from 3D Studio Max, I suspect. When we select from the custom settings that enable you to render, you can now choose to render by level, by time, so you can set a time setting to say, right, just render this for 15 minutes or half an hour, or until satisfactory. Now this is a nice one. With this last feature, you can see how the rendering is progressing in a dialog box with a detailed progress information about your rendering. So you can just let it keep on rendering until you think it's good enough, which is a very, very nice feature indeed. More on the architecture front. wall join types. Okay, now this is an improved feature. We now have the choice to select wall join types actually during wall creation. Okay, we've got a new tool up in the options bar. So in this R2 improvement to the edit wall joins, you can choose whether to allow or disallow wall joins while actually creating the wall joins. Once you select a wall tool, you can select the join status of allow or disallow as part of the drawing process, and this gives us better control over our design. So right up here you can see that you can decide in the option how you want to create this wall joint. Railing preview. Okay, we've all had fun with railings, trying to design them and change them and use the family editor and the edit types in here. But now this is quite nice. I found this useful just recently. Previously, when a railing was created and it required a railing element defined in the project, and you wanted to be able to review its shape and construction, you couldn't really see what was going on until you've done it, really. Now this new feature enables a preview window in the type dialog to view the new or existing railing type shapes. And this enables you to manipulate and iterate the rail design in the preview actually before placing it. So this is a very welcome addition for those of us that are into our stairs and railings. And again, it's another one of the features that's here to help us design more efficiently with the ability to control our model elements more efficiently. Room tool, yes, we've got some additional room tool functionality. We can now actually place rooms automatically. When placing rooms, we now have an extra placement tool available. So as you start using the room tool, take a look up in the modify ribbon, and we've got this new place rooms automatically tool. So you click up on here. So rather than placing your rooms in one by one yourself, if you have a whole set of rooms, you can use this option, which is pretty nice. And then just click on the button and off it goes. So if we've got an empty area showing up here, you click on the button, and in this example I've got 21 rooms that have automatically been placed, and it just sequentially numbers them for us. Okay, so this could be really useful. However, looking a little bit closer in this example, we've got many rooms that would need quite a bit of tidying up. So this new option is just that. Okay, it's an option. It could be useful in some situations, but not others. Either way, I think you agree, it's a nice option to have. Place rooms automatically. Okay, now we've also had a change to the underlay tool. View, underlay, and orientation. The View Underlay user interface has been updated in 2016 R2 to help better describe what we're actually seeing in the underlay. When using this underlay feature in plan views, we can now choose whether it says look up or look down. Okay. So in here, if you look at the over in the examples, here we've got this additional underlay orientation. Okay, so they've just renamed this so it's look up, look down. In addition to that, the view underlay is now set to none by default in the floor plans when creating a new level. Plan has also been renamed to look down, and reflected ceiling plan has been renamed look up, and this apparently is for better understanding. So hopefully for many people this would just make it more obvious what we're actually seeing when we assign a particular level to be viewed as an underlay. Okay, moving on, let's take a look at the advancements for some of the MEP application. In this release 2, now background processing of color fill and color schemes and the associated color fills are updated asynchronously. And this basically is going to alleviate model interaction and delays associated with computations when adding ductwork and pipework. So as we can see here, we've got a lot of information being processed. We've got a lot of color fills. We've got ductwork in there. And so there's a lot of graphical processing going on, and they've enhanced the engines and the rendering engines and the display engines to make this a much smoother operation. So you can now update a room, a space, an HVAC zone, duct and piping color fills, and it's now going to be using multiple CPUs. Okay, so it's going to take advantage of our fantastic PCs that we have these days with that are multi-core CPUs by actually using those multiple CPUs, not just using one of them. And you should experience something like a 15% increase in performance speed. And this is based on the multi-processing framework. And this is the latest in a series of multi-CPU features that have begun with progressive displays in Revit 2016 natively. But this is a further enhancement to that. And I dare say that as we get more releases, we're going to start making much better use of the phenomenal hardware that most of us have got access to these days. Hopefully. Okay, let's take a look at some fabrication part modeling improvements. The Revit 2016 R2 features enhancements to the fabrication part modeling for both duct and pipework have been improved. The features include some in-canvas rotation tools for fabrication parts. So with this new rotation tool, this enhanced rotation control, it enables us to more easily rotate parts about its axis to any desired angle, and this would be able to give us more control and improve productivity when rotating connected parts around their connected ends. Another option that's been improved is the insert part option. Now this command makes it easy to place inline parts such as valves, dampers and tees into existing runs of straight segments. You can now more easily place tees and valves and dampers directly into model runs. It enables you to model fabrication level detail parts a lot more efficiently with the inline part placement tool. We've also got a show service tool update. Now this updates the fabrication part browser to show the service of the elements selected in the canvas view. And this is basically making it easier to continue placing related elements. It gives you more efficient fabrication part browser updates, and this enables you to make changes to your model much faster. So you can actually see what's going on that much quicker, and you can pick your parts that much more easily. When using the fabrication parts in Revit, you can place fittings on the sides of rectangular ducts now, such as square to round fittings using tap placement. Once the tap has been placed, it can be positioned anywhere on the duct surface. And this should help improve your accuracy with the ability to model taps to the side of the duct according to the specifications to meet the fabrication requirements. All these tools obviously help improve the accuracy and the performance with the ability to model according to more your actual local specifications and make sure we can build to code. On the electrical side, we can now define the default rating for newly created circuits, allowing you to create create electrical services specifically for your project template to our regional requirements. Finally, here we go. The default circuit rating provides control and flexibility for local needs outside of America. It simplifies the pre-population of branch circuit panels that may have many breakers, and it enables you to tailor circuit default ratings to our local standards to meet our design specifications. Another electrical design enhancement helps you when there are only two options for the default distribution panels on a panel. In the prior releases, when placing a panel, the distribution system was always assigned as none. Now with this release 2, if a panel only has a single distribution option, such as 208 or 120, this will be assigned automatically. So that just makes a whole lot of sense. If there's only one available, assign it straight away. And again, this should help us just improve our efficiency just that little bit more. Wow, that was quite a bit. As we can have seen in Release 2 for Revit 2016, there's quite a few nice features. And as you explore these, I'm sure you'll find them very useful and just a natural extension of the way that you have been working. But the question I expect many of you have is, how do I get Release 2 for my Revit? Now, first, remember that this is for Revit 2016 only. Okay. Secondly, it is a subscription benefit, so you must be on Autodesk subscription. If you have both of these, then there are two common ways to download the Release 2 bonus package. The quickest way is by checking your Autodesk Application Manager using the Update tool. Okay. If you click on your Update tabs, give it a moment to check, and hopefully it should appear on the list and you can install it. Now, did you notice I said hopefully? What we have been finding is that different people have been getting a different experience from user to user. In this screenshot, I've got Release 2 available for Revit LT, but it never showed it available for my full version of Revit. Okay, so this is one method. There are two ways. Another option is going to be via your Autodesk account. Okay, and now in this example, I'm going to take you through on how to find your Release 2. It's going to be based on Building Design Suite, but depending upon which suite you have, the basic principle will stay the same. Okay, so here's how you find it. Obviously, you need to log in to your account, go to the management and product services panel. Okay, so if you log in and it goes to profile, click on management, then we're going to go to product and services, and we're going to then pick on products. Okay. Now when you do this, a list of products should populate down the page. Then need to scroll down to find your Revit 2016 product or suite. For example, Building Design Suite Ultimate in this example. Now once on your product, you can then select Product, Update and Add-ons. You should find this available along this list when you're actually in your product inside of the Autodesk account. Okay. Now the updates and add-ons page could contain quite a long list of available extras. If so, and you're finding it hard to find the release 2 for 2016, you could, if you wish, add a filter to help minimize the amount of information that you get. Now this is an option, you don't have to add a filter, but you can click on Add Filter, and this is going to open up our filtering tool set. So when you do that, you go through these various stages of first selecting the version, so you will need to pick on the 2016. Now, depending on how many products you've got, you may need to click on more so that you can actually expand the list. And then eventually, if you expand the list, you should find the Revit options in there. And then you pick on Close. And this will actually finish the filtering process for you. This will then take you back to the updates page, updates and add-ons page, where we should have a much shorter list of available downloads. Okay. If you find you still have quite a big list, then we could just use our general Windows Find tool to further isolate our release 2 options. So type in, hold the control key down, press F, and then you'll get one of these search fields available, and then you can simply type in, well, I'm looking for release 2, so type in release 2, and it will list all of the release 2 add-ons that are available under your subscription. Okay, so that's the process, the 2 processes available for getting the Autodesk Revit 2016 Release 2 update. Hopefully that's given you a fair overview of some of the enhancements that you get. I've been finding that in using this, most of them are quite natural, and they just seem to be a natural extension, and things have been working very, very well indeed. Now, Release, it is a powerful add-on to the Revit standard from Autodesk. And remember that it's only available if you're on subscription. But it is an add-on, and it's worth remembering that there are many other add-on packages. So if you're running a full version of Revit as opposed to LT, there are in fact many more add-on packages available as well from the Autodesk Exchange Store. This is Autodesk's App Store. Okay. You can actually gain access to this directly from inside of your Revit product. If you look up in the top right-hand corner, you'll find a little blue and white X. Okay, up on the info panel. If you click on there, it's going to take you directly to Autodesk App Store, and there's a whole set of add-on packages available from the Autodesk Exchange Store. Some are free, some are try before you buy, and others are subscription benefits, just like the Release 2 is. Now these bolt-ons are supplied by Autodesk and many other independent suppliers and organizations as well. I mean, we here at Graytech, we have been producing custom add-on software for many of the Autodesk products for years now. And there's, on the Revit front at the moment, you can actually find that we've got our Revit Advanced Power Pack available, and this has got a nice big set of new tools. It's a whole new ribbon that will be added to your Revit, so you can find it on our website, or you can go directly to the address that you've got here, or just simply do a Google search for Revit Power Pack, and it will take you for Revit, because we've done quite a few different power packs for different products. So do Revit Power Pack for Revit and you should find it, or go to this link. Well, thank you very much. I do appreciate the time that you've spent to have this review of the Release 2. If you do need any further information, obviously come along to our website at graytech.co.uk. We've also got YouTube channels that you can look at various videos and other webinars that we've done over the last few years, and these are all categorized. And you can also, from our website, you can sign up to our blog where you'd get notifications of any updates, patches, and tips and tricks that we release for people as well. Alternatively, you could always pick up the phone and actually speak to a real person on 023 8086 8947. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, and I hope you have found this very useful. Any questions, please feel free to ask. If you've got any questions, I can answer those offline for you. You can put them in the questions doc right now if you do have any queries, or you can give us a call on the number that you see on your screen right now. So, hope you have a great Christmas, and we'll still be here up till Christmas Eve, I believe. So if you need any help, that's what we're here for. My name's Greg, and thank you very much, and bye for now.